based on the expected future cash flows, expected future benefits the project is going to generate. We are trying to find out whether that project investment, whether the investment in the project is going to be a successful investment or it is not. There are various tools and techniques that help us in terms of evaluating a project. So on those lines, I would like to initially cover the basic conceptual aspects regarding those, followed by we'll take up a few numericals which can help us in doing a proper evaluation of a project. So from that dimension, the few things that we are looking at, the important techniques, the important techniques that help us in evaluating a project. One we call as NPV in short, but otherwise called as net present value. This is a very powerful tool for evaluating a capital project. Then apart from that, we also have another tool which is called as IRR, otherwise called as internal rate of return. We'll also talk about a discounted payback period, DPP, another powerful tool to evaluate a project, a discounted payback. And one more important tool to look at for evaluating any project is the accumulated profit. So these are some of the four tools generally that are heavily used, though there are few other tools which can help in evaluating capital projects. We can look at these four as the most powerful tools to evaluate the same. Of course, some of them have overlapping objectives, whereas some of them are exclusively for some purposes. For example, when I look at accumulated profit, as the word itself is telling us, it is accumulative of the profit towards the end of the project. I'm not looking at on the day of start of the project. So probably if I'm talking about a 20-year project, I'm primarily looking at after all expenses going up, what is the cumulative profit? What is the accumulated profit that comes at the end of the project? So all it's as good as talking about the future values of all the incomes minus the future values of all the expenses gives me the total accumulated profit on the day of completion of the project. So that is one thing which we can look at. So if that accumulated profit is large positive, then probably the project is more and more attractive compared to the other one. But the same logic when we are applying to the present value instead of the accumulated value, if I am applying, I find out the present value of all incomes which are coming up at different points, all cash inflows, and I subtract the present value of all cash outflows or expenses, is what will give me the net present value of the project. And as an investment decision, if it is more positive, good to invest. If it is negative, then it's not a good project to invest. It's not feasible kind of a project. Then, yeah, okay, here this is going with, when I say present value, we are discounting the cash flows of each of the different time periods at a particular rate which we call as the rate of discount. Now, this discount rate is the typical expected return, right? Anyone who wants to invest in the project what is the expected return which he is expecting on the investment per year. So that is what we call as a discount rate. So based on that particular discount rate, if I am finding out the value of the incomes versus outgoes, the incomes are greater than the outgoes, then it is a profitable project, otherwise it is not. Then the same logic extended a little bit more, saying if the discount rate is some x, now probably it may so happen that present value of cash inflows is greater than present value of cash outflows. But it may so happen probably at 12% or some other discount rate, the present value of cash inflows is same as present value of cash outflows. So that particular rate of discount, that particular interest rate where the present value of the cash inflows equals the present value of the cash outflows is what we call as the internal rate of return, or in other way it is talking about that particular effective effective annual rate of return, where the present value of cash inflows is same as the present value of cash outflows, or in a way where NPV, the net present value, is becoming zero. So if as an again an investment decision, if that IRR is greater than the expected return, then it is good to invest in that project, otherwise it is not. Then getting into this discounted payback period, it measures in a slightly different way. It measures the effectiveness of the project in years or periods. Discounted payback period, all it is saying is what is the earliest time, where for a particular project the present value of cash inflows started going above the present value of cash outflows, means the project just starts making profit. What is the minimum time frame, what is the earliest time frame where the project starts making profit and it accumulates the profits as the time increases. So because in many of the projects there is a huge cash inflow in the initial years, so there will be some time that it would take to recover those cash outflows, and after that it will start making a profit. So that's where we say the earliest time after the start of the project where the present value of the cash inflows will exceed the present value of the cash outflows. So those are the different mechanisms that are available with respect to the evaluation of any project. And of course there are a few numericals which we would look out for regarding the evaluation of the project. We talk about the different ways in which for different kinds of scenarios where we compute the net present value, there are different scenarios where we are computing the discounted payback periods, and even computing the accumulated profits also. So with those numericals, I hope we will get a kind of a clarity in terms of using the project appraisal techniques to really evaluate the worth of the project and take the decisions with respect to invest or non-invest in the project. So we'll move towards the usage of the various numericals. We'll take up a few numerical examples, and based on that try calculating these various features and try to take decisions for the project. All right. Now let's look at computing